Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna film a little life update, let you know what's been going on and why I've kind of been MIA here on YouTube. So we kind of have to push it back to December when I was a burnt out social worker working for like a medium-sized agency. I was very burnt out and I was looking for another job. And I think that's where my mistake was, because I should have switched units within that agency before like just taking the first job offer. I applied as a social worker to a different place and I got an offer, but it was a 1-year offer. And unfortunately, months later, like in the middle of finals in May, I was told that there was going to be budget cuts and that my position was going to be cut. So that was super stressful. I was angry at first. Like, I needed some time to process, and then I was angry for a few days, then like just really sad, and then I started making moves. It was a very humbling experience, and I had to figure something out fast because it was May, like it was like end of May, and then in August I was gonna start school, and September start my internship. So I felt like it was really unfair because one, I had been told something, and then two, now my schedule was thrown off because now I wasn't gonna be with an employer who understood I was in school and had an internship. I was likely gonna end up having to work part-time. Through all that, they offered me extra help, meaning I could work part-time for them, but there's really no benefits. Of course, that hurt my feelings and like my pride, so I went and looked for another job. And around that time, it was like the end of the fiscal year, so I was gone for 2 weeks from work and I was gonna come back. Now, those 2 weeks, I was gone because they messed up my paperwork. And so I left, tried a new job. You guys, it was really sad because it's a nonprofit that, does good work, but there's so many things they didn't disclose. And I was in a situation where they hired me as lead case manager. So I was like ready, excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna like, help mentor people and it's gonna be everything. And it wasn't everything. They were incredibly short-staffed, and it was at a shelter, but it was a very unique shelter. There was like no running water, and I had to be on the kitchen twice a week, which was weekends. It was just rough. It was like something I wasn't used to, and for the first time in my life, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to quit my job. And remember the original job where I was burnt out? People would start there and would only last 1 or 2 days and then disappear. Like, they couldn't do it. And I always wondered, I'm like, how do you start a job and then quit so fast? Like, you didn't even give it a month, you didn't even give it 3 months. In this situation, I understood. I was like, oh my God, I'm not happy. There were so many things they didn't tell me, and then it wasn't a good match. I also felt like I wasn't needed, right? I thought maybe I could have done both jobs at once, right? The one that was now offering me a part-time job and then this new job. But I quickly realized that was not going to be the case, so I put in my 1-week notice and then started the process of, like figuring out my return. Now remember, during this time I'm already emotionally exhausted because of the news from like May, and then like finals and stuff, then throughout June applying for jobs, and then I started this new job in July, but it was really only for like a week and a half. And as I was giving my notice, one of my babies got lost. I left the restroom door slightly open. Like, it was closed, but it wasn't like fully closed. 2 of them pushed into the restroom, and Loki and Leo got out. Now, Loki just hooked onto the door and started meowing. So Todd from upstairs, he was able to call my mom, and my mom brought him in. Of course, that prompted her to count the babies, and she realized one was missing. I'm at work while she's texting me all this, and I'm like hyperventilating. Like, I'm like, oh my God, my baby. And I knew I couldn't drive in that moment, so I just like, sat there and just kind of collected myself. And then when I got home, it was just like so devastating. And for 5 days, we looked for Leo. We made flyers, we knocked door to door, like we literally did everything. I even posted an ad on Facebook through Paw Boost. And fortunately, on the Monday I was supposed to start at my, like that middle job, like the 1-year job that ended up becoming a part-time. I thought about missing because we found Leo in the morning. My neighbor came over and was like, hey, he's in my backyard. It was like really early. I ran over and he got scared. I didn't even get to see him. And he must have jumped the fence back into our backyard. So I run back and I start calling his name. Y gracias a Dios, Leo was, there. And so we had to clean him, like check him for fleas and everything. So I was this close to not going into work that day, but because I was starting a new position, there was orientation, and if I missed it, it was gonna be another 2 weeks. But at that point, I was like, I don't care, like I need to be here with my baby. But my mom and my brothers were here, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to work. And I went back to work, and it was like my perspective had fully shifted. I think before I left, I was definitely upset at a few things. And I also think I was like taking more responsibility with certain cases than I was supposed to. Like, I'm supporting with housing, and that's kind of it. And I think that social worker in me wants to do more and like support more. But I think that's really difficult when you have a lot of cases. And it can also be really emotionally exhausting, and it's overstepping boundaries, right? Because someone else is doing that job. So I went back. I feel like now it's been 2 weeks. I feel like I have a different perspective. I'm really grateful to be back. And, I missed my coworkers. It was just like a rough transition to like have to leave because someone messed up my paperwork and then come back. But now it's just like, it's different because I'm doing the same job, but it is a different position. But I am very grateful. I was able to get a raise. And then going part-time does work with my school schedule. So things happen for a reason. Dios sabe por qué hace las cosas. And yeah, now I'm working there, and I'll be starting school in 3 weeks. Oh, I missed a part. In the middle of all this, throughout June, sorry, let's go back a little bit. In the middle of all this, I was having a lot of toothache pain right here. And I actually had a root canal here that apparently got messed up. And throughout June, I was going to the dentist. But remember, come July, I wasn't going to have insurance anymore. So literally, like, I think July 5th, my insurance ended. The day before my insurance was going to end, I went to the dentist. And they still couldn't find anything. The x-rays weren't showing anything. So they wanted to send me to a specialist, an endodontist. Then my insurance expired, and I got this bubble on my gum. And, I was freaking out. I went to them, and they were like, it's an infection, and like, it's bad. And so I was like super, like, I kind of was shocked because now I don't have insurance because it was directly tied to my employer. And I don't know what the infection would do. Like, they were saying it was super serious. They got me on antibiotics, and I was, like swirling a lot of like salt water. And thankfully that went down. So I thought the infection was gone. But then now it sucks because, yeah, I went back to work. I'm very happy to be back, very grateful. But I went back to see the specialist, and I don't have insurance. So it does suck because it's very expensive to try to fix it. It's thousands of dollars to try to fix it or extract it, and then you have to get an implant. They were talking about grafts, like a bone graft, tissue graft, like literally like the dollar signs were, bing, bing, bing in my brain as they were telling me everything that they'll have to do. And so now I'm in a place where I am considering going to Mexico because, yeah, I'm making enough money to sustain myself and go back to school and everything. But I'm not making enough money to like drop thousands on dental work. So I'll try to get insurance on my own. But if not, I'm going to go to Mexico with my dad. He goes, I think, every 2 weeks now. He used to go every week, but now he's going every 2 weeks. And I might just go get my dental work there. I'm not 100% how that's going to go. Oh, another thing. Well, 2 other things. In the middle of all that, I was having to figure out my vaccines and blood work for my internship because it's going to be at a hospital. And then also like one of my exes and then someone else I dated like started texting me again. And the whole thing was a difficult process. Like it's been an emotional roller coaster. And that's kind of why I've been missing. Like, to be honest, like life was just giving me a lot of lemons. And I feel a lot more calm now. I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more energy. And I feel like I have more drive. And I feel like I have more motivation. And I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have more, like, I don't know, like, you know, when it rains, it pours, and it was really, really pouring. But I feel happier. I feel more like myself. I started 75 soft, which my next video can be about that. I went through a lot of humbling situations, and I, you know, kept pushing. I was resilient, and, you know, kept going to therapy, kept my people around me, my friends, my family, my gatitos, and I can't lie and say nothing could happen. Like, there was a lot of good moments in the last few months. I even became a tia. I'm super proud of my sister and my brother-in-law, and so I do see a new chapter coming. But in the middle of that, it was difficult. It was a little dark, and it was just a lot. And if any of you are going through this, I urge you to, like, take care of yourself, you know, breathe, do something that you love, something to, like, recharge, because everything's just so intense, and like, and it's a good reminder that you never know what people are going through, right? Like, any little thing could have thrown me over the edge, and I would have started crying, like, at work, or like I would have started crying everywhere. But I also think that's part of the problem. I'm very vocal with my emotions, and I think during that time I wasn't really able to, like, talk about it. And part of me was embarrassed about, you know, the choice I made to leave the job in December. And I was embarrassed to, like, call them back and try to get that job. And so it was a lot. But I want you to know, if you're going through it, you are not alone. There will always be someone, you know, there for you, on your side, having your back. And if you don't, like, if you don't have someone that you can talk to, then, like, message me. Like, you can always DM me, email me, like, literally anything. A lot of you even have my numbers, like, from when we've met in pop-ups, or we've been co-workers, or whatever. So yeah, just reach out to someone. Sometimes you just need to let it out. And if you're able to, like, I would also say talk to a professional, because talking to my therapist about a lot of things was helpful, because it let me vent. And then I felt like the weight I was carrying wasn't just mine. And that was, you know, and that was incredibly helpful. Something I'm going to be doing this weekend is I am going to go to church, because when I lost Leo, I was praying so much. And I'm not going to lie, like, the last few months, I've prayed every night. And typically I'm asking for something. I'll be straight up. Like, that's the truth. And so this time I was like, you know what? If I find Leo, if you bring him back into my life, I will go to church at least once. And so my brother Josue goes to this church, and, you know, he invited me. I'm going to be going tomorrow. I am excited, actually. Like, I think it'll be good. And it's been some time that I've been thinking about, like, finding a church and kind of like centering myself there a little bit more. Because I don't want to get emotional, but life has been hard, and not just for me, right? For a lot of people in my life. And so we've been able to persevere, and everyone's alive and healthy and just, like, you know, pushing forward. And so there's so many things to be grateful for. And you know, I'm just happy to be able to be here telling you everything that's been going on. But yeah, that's basically it. I think I'll end the video here. I'm actually about to go to a gender reveal for one of my good friends and classmates. So I'm excited to see. I'm team girl. Anyone that's having a baby, I'm team girl, because imagine, like, I've always felt like I'm like Cupid. And imagine, this is gonna sound wild, but, like, imagine, like, your good friend having a baby, and then that baby grows up, like, 25 years later, meets your nephew, and then they end up together, and then your family with your friends. And I know it's, like, very novela-esque, but don't judge me, okay? I've been going through a lot. Like, let me have my let me have my fantasy, okay? But anyways, I will end the video here. I'm already late. I need to pack the gift and then drive over. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye bye.